The way that I define boundaries is they are rules, they are guidelines, they are limitations that let other people know what is acceptable, right? Acceptable behavior, acceptable expectations. It helps other people know how to interact with you, both in personal and professional settings. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Power in the Pause podcast. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. And as a reminder, please hit that subscribe button so that you do not miss a single episode. And if you love this podcast, which I know that you do, that's why you're here, please leave me a 5-star review and rating. It would help me so very much. So shall we dive into today's episode? So today's episode, we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics. It is my favorite B word. No, get your head out of the gutter. We are going to talk about boundaries in business, how it is that you can balance your personal power alongside your professional growth. So establishing and maintaining boundaries is super important as an entrepreneur because essentially it creates the foundation for your success, for sustainable success. And it is also crucial in ensuring your well-being as an entrepreneur so that you can have as close to a balanced professional and personal life. What I know to be true, because I used to not have very clear boundaries, I was burned out, I felt overwhelmed, I did not ever feel like there was ever any balance. And so what did that spiral me into? Well, it spiraled me into not being very productive. My creativity was lacking, and I just was struggling in terms of growing my business long term. And what I quickly realized was that when I actually set healthy boundaries in my business, I was really able to not only protect my time, actually put value over my time, but I was also able to really protect my energy and my resources so that I could focus on what really mattered in my business, right? Instead of being the people pleaser that I used to be. So that helped me to make really strategic decisions that aligned with where it was that I wanted to take my business. It aligned with my values. It aligned with my goals. And more importantly, what my boundaries enabled me to do was to create incredibly positive relationships, not just with clients, but with colleagues and people I wanted to collaborate with because it was very clear to them what my expectations were. I clarified my role and it allowed both sides to maintain mutual respect. So what I hope you're hearing me say is that when you prioritize your boundaries in business, what it means is that you're prioritizing your needs, you are honoring your values, and you are building that sustainable foundation for your business as you move forward. So what are boundaries? Why are they important? I'm going to go into this a little bit more. So the way that I define boundaries is they are rules, they are guidelines, they are limitations that let other people know what is acceptable, right? Acceptable behavior, acceptable expectations. It helps other people know how to interact with you, both in personal and professional settings. Really, they are those invisible lines that protect our energy and allow us to be able to maintain a level of integrity and self-respect. So boundaries are really important because they are protecting you. What boundaries are actually doing is letting the people in who are your people and keeping the people out that are not your people. Who are not your people? Well, people who take advantage of you, people who might manipulate you or, overwhelm you with constant demands or expectations. And so when you're able to know what your boundaries are and you clearly communicate what they are, you are allowing yourself to preserve your own mental and emotional health, and you put yourself first. I used to be horrible at setting boundaries, not just in my personal life, but also in my business, especially when I started out as an entrepreneur, because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't want to say no to anything because it was like, well, what if, right? So I was just like the yes girl. But what I started to quickly understand and realize was that I was giving away my time. I was giving away my energy and resources and wisdom to people and organizations that weren't in alignment for me. But I was coming from this desperate energy. I was coming from an energy that attracted the wrong type of clients. And so once I quickly realized how important it was for me to not just set boundaries in my personal life, but to also set them in my business, what I was finally able to do was to attract exactly who it was that I wanted to work with. When you don't have boundaries in place in your business, you are sacrificing your well-being. You are diluting your ability to be at your best, right? Operating from your highest and best self. And so when you have boundaries in place, you actually have that framework in mind that aligns with your values and your aspirations. Now, I hear so many times, well, but if I set boundaries, like all these things are going to happen and I'm going to be set up for failure. Well, so many common misconceptions about boundaries are actually keeping you from having the business that you want, from creating the abundance that you desire, right? So many times we think that setting boundaries is selfish, right? Or it's just so unprofessional, right? So we think that, and then what ends up happening is we become people pleasers, right? Or we don't feel comfortable using our voice and saying no, right? No is a complete sentence, and it is the boundary that you can start setting today. And we get afraid to do that because we don't want people to think that we are rude, right? We are afraid of being in judgment to other people. But what I know is that when you don't set boundaries, you're putting the other person ahead of you. So why is it that it's okay for you to be burned out, for you to be overworked, for you to have resentment, but the other person is thrilled, right? So another misconception is that so many times we think, well, if I put a boundary in place, they're not going to know that there's wiggle room. Well, they will, as long as you communicate, right, that your boundaries can be adaptable, right? That they can be dynamic, that you are open to adjusting them as circumstances change, right? But you do that if still keeping in mind what your values are, right? You can still be flexible in your boundaries as long as you are honoring your values. That is what is going to enable you to navigate any challenges that come your way, right? That's how you navigate those challenges without compromising your integrity or your values, or more importantly, your health. So if you're somebody who is afraid that your boundaries are going to alienate people or create more conflict, what I'm here to tell you is, sure, you may have to have some uncomfortable conversations, but at the end of the day, what is actually on the other side of that is going to be longer, more sustainable relationships and a healthier version of you, because clear boundaries create and communicate clarity and trust and respect. Boundaries are going to give you that healthier work-life balance. They're going to allow you to become so much more productive, right? So many times people are like, I want to work less and make more. Well, that's because those entrepreneurs actually have boundaries in their business. And by having those boundaries, they're able to be super productive. What I can accomplish in an hour takes most people a couple of hours. And that's because I really protect my time. I'm not on my phone. I shut down my email, right? I create boundaries in my business that allow me during my working hours to really focus and to get clear. Is this going to help me achieve my goals this year? Is this meeting important for me? Is this connection somebody that I want to move forward with? Is this a client that I can see supporting? Is this somebody who I see is going to actually create more work for me, right? And so what I don't think that we're able to really do is to align back our boundaries to prioritizing our time and energy, which then ladder back to what your goals and your values are. Right? When you have boundaries around your business, you're protecting yourself from things that will distract you, from things that will interrupt you, from non-essential tasks. And instead, you're going to focus your attention on your priorities in your business, your priority projects, any strategic alliances or initiatives that are going to create income, that are going to amplify your abundance. You know, I talk about this a lot with my clients and in my experiences. The way that your boundaries get set is your intuition speaking to you what will and won't work. Your intuition is intimately connected to your boundaries because your intuition is telling you when your limitations, your rules, your guidelines are not being honored. That is the internal sensation. That is the signal that is telling you no, or maybe it's telling you yes, right? But overall, what having boundaries in business is going to do is cultivate self-respect, self-care, and it will also lay the foundation for long-term sustainability in your business. So if you are somebody who wants to clearly outline your boundaries, if you want to communicate them clearly and make yourself a priority by setting boundaries in place, what you're going to do is set yourself up for incredible success and abundance because you're coming from a place of power, right? Be the CEO of your business. Stop being the coach. Stop being the employee. Be the CEO. So I encourage each and every one of you guys to reflect on your own boundary setting practices and consider, how can I start strengthening them today? Where are the gaps? Where are the holes? How can I have greater balance in my business? And I invite you guys to share your experience, share what's coming up for you with me. I would love to hear from you guys. You can connect with me on social media. Just DM me. I'm at Wendy Page Sterling. And I'd love to hear, what is it that you are navigating right now? What's coming up for you? Because you're not alone, right? This is something that you learn. It's something I love to teach. I am highly passionate about it. I taught this in my sleep in my prior divorce business. I taught my clients all about how to set boundaries in their personal life, with their kids, with their family, with their friends, with their colleagues. It is not foreign to me, and you can do so from your heart and communicate it in a way that you not only are being respectful, but you feel seen and heard. Thank you guys for tuning into today's episode. Don't forget to hit subscribe so that you don't miss a single one. And remember, so many times the way in which we're able to communicate our boundaries to those people in our life and in our business is through moments of pause. So the next time your mouth wants to say yes, but your body is telling you no, embrace a breath, embrace a pause, and really be thoughtful on whether or not it really is a yes or a no. Come from your place of valuing your time and your energy. Thank you guys for tuning in, sending you so much love and light always. Mwah. Bye, everybody.